So this is my new aquarium. I can't remember. I think I posted a video of this when I bought it. But I bought it a couple days ago from a dude on Craigslist. It was real cheap. Like I think $40 for everything. So can't really beat that. If you buy this thing retail, it's like $80, I think, and it came with a heater. That's another $20. So I got a pretty good deal. So anyway, it's up and running. It's working great. You can see some turbulence on the surface of that water. That's because the little pump is running. This tank is the aquarium itself is called a Fluval. What is it? It's a Fluval Spec 5 or Spec V, the Roman numeral for 5, which makes sense because this is a 5.5 gallon aquarium. If you count this part over here, which is about a half gallon. The livable space is about 5 gallons. Total dimensions are about 20 inches long, 7 inches deep, and about 10.5 inches tall. That includes this riser. The glass is not actually touching, so it's probably more like 10 inches of glass when all is told. Right now I've got this little cut off nylons filled. The toe is filled with pebbles from the fish tank out on the patio. I did that because this tank needs to get cycled quickly, or I'd like it to be cycled as quickly as possible. We've talked about cycling in the past. The nitrification cycle, you have to build up a level of bacteria, 2 kinds of bacteria in your tank growing on the substrate and in the hoses and all of that kind of stuff, in the filter media. And this tank would naturally do that over the course of 4 to 6 weeks if I just let it set. But if I put some bacteria from my tank that's already been cycled into this one, it seeds it and it gives them a jump start. So that's what I've done. I put about 4 parts per million ammonia in it yesterday morning. I haven't checked the water conditions again, but I expect I will start to see some nitrate and or nitrite or nitrite and or nitrate, I guess, in that order, in this water in the relatively near future. I think since I put the penny hose full of pebbles in there, it'll probably speed it up. I think I'll probably be, I've read that I'll probably be completely cycled in about 2 weeks instead of 4 to 6. So that'll speed things up quite a bit. This has been pumping for 3 days now. Anyway, so down there in this compartment is there's a tiny little pump down in the bottom. It's probably about 2 or 3 cubic inches. It's a little tiny guy. And it does about 50 gallons per hour or something like that. And there's not much rise there, about 6 inches, 8 inches. So somewhere around 40, 50 gallons per hour. It's variable. There's a switch that you can flip. There's 3 different settings for high, medium, and low. I've got it on high right now because I want the water to cycle as much as possible, or to circulate as much as possible to get bacteria in all the good places. So yeah, the pump's in there. There's room in here, and a lot of people do put a little heater, the tank heater, inside that compartment. And I have one. I don't know where it is. It's on the floor somewhere. The dude sold with it. So I think for $40 I got this approximately $80 retail value aquarium plus a heater, which costs about $15-20. So I got a pretty good deal. And I didn't pick this tank in particular. I just wanted a small 5-ish gallon tank for as little money as I could spend, and I found this one for $40. So I didn't go shopping or anything. I just took what I could find. But this one seems pretty good. I think maybe in the future I might consider taking back this real estate. It's frosted. This inside surface of the glass has been sandblasted or something, but you could polish that out, I think. I haven't done any research, but it seems to me that you probably could polish that out and then get the full 5.5 gallons of livable real estate. Then I can move the pump. if I'm going to keep this thing as an aquaponics system, which I intend to, a countertop little garden for kitchen herbs and spices and stuff. But I could move this hardware out into like a sump tank that would go underneath, build a little structure for it to set on, and just have a small sump so that the water level inside the tank stayed constant. But for now, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. The aquarium will be the sump, and I'm going to build a little garden box on top. And in fact, I've gotten started on that. I've so far just built the frame for it, but this will set just like this on top of these little plastic pegs on the corners. The weight will be on those, and there's aluminum braces, so that seems like a good place for the weight to set. It won't be a lot of weight, but there'll be a little water and some pebbles and some plants sitting on top of it. So I'm planning to build. So I've got a sheet of plywood, thin plywood. I think it's 3/8 inch thick. And it's not like the kind of plywood that you think of when you hear the word plywood with all the flakes and stuff. It's actually pretty grained. The outside layer is just a very thin layer of actual grained wood with the pulpy crap in the middle. And so it looks like wood-ish, kind of. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, so I've constructed the skeleton. I'll just attach the plywood sheets around the circumference, around the outside border of this thing, with some little screws. I'll just tack it on. So then there will also be a sheet of wood that lays on top of this. And I think I'll leave a little gap over here and build up. And this gap will be where the water comes out. And it'll just give me like where I can, access the filter area without removing the lid and that kind of thing. So the growing real estate will also still be, like where the fish are. And so the water will come in over here, and then I'll put a little tiny bell siphon, which I've bought parts for. I'm using like 3/8 inch outside diameter polyethylene tubing as the inside downspout, and I think that'll be large enough diameter that it won't be a capillary action problem, but I'm going to have to run some experiments. But so then that sits inside a 3/4 inch PVC bell siphon hood, and then I'll put around the bell siphon, I'll put a 1 1/4 inch piece of PVC to keep the pebbles and roots away from the bell siphon's setup. Well, that's the plan anyway. But yeah, so I'll probably leave this gap so I can get to the filter, and so that I can mess with the pump nozzle, and so that I don't have to punch a hole through the flood or through the floor to get the water into the bed. I might change my mind at some point, but for now I think that's what's going to happen. But anyway, like I was saying, there'll be a floor here, and then I'll wrap it with plywood. And then I have some plastic liner that I purchased, just some vinyl plastic sheet. Is it vinyl? I don't know, some plastic sheet. So I'll tack that down to the box, and then I might put a little like a thin shelf on top to make it look pretty. I haven't decided if I care about that or not. I'll probably end up painting it black, just because this tank is a black and silver kind of coloration, and I think it'll probably go okay in the kitchen, since I think that's where I plan on end up placing it at some point, just on one point in the kitchen over by the phone probably. But yeah, so the project is started. I've bought the plywood. I don't know how I'm going to cut it yet. I think I need probably about 6-inch strips for the border, and then of course a 7-inch strip here. The sheet that I bought was 2 feet across and 48 inches long, so 4 feet long. So I can slice that up however it's convenient. The problem that I run into is the tool that I have for precision cuts is a bandsaw, and its arm is only about 12 inches. So I can't cut anything that's I can't cut an object whose short side from the cut is 12 inches, or is longer than 12 inches. So if I have like a 4 feet piece of stuff, the largest piece I can chop off of that would be 1 foot. And that's not a whole lot of space. But anyway, what else? Nothing really. Oh, filter media. This thing has an interesting little filter setup. It's kind of cool how this is all kind of put together. There's a sponge here, this spongy material that's got a little plastic hook that came with it for pulling it in and out, and it's fairly durable. It's not soft. It's kind of a rough material. It feels like it'll withstand a lot of punishment. It's not a terribly good filter by itself. Like, it will definitely block large solids for sure, but the key parts of the filter is that you'd put in some bio rings, these little cylinders basically with a hole punched in the middle of clay, of like fired clay, of some kind of pottery, ceramics, and it's porous, so there's lots of real estate, lots of surface area for the bacteria to grow on. And then down there, I think they intend for you to place a little activated charcoal filter in that spot. I think what I'm going to do is just put some of that blue and white filter material down here, or I've seen some really dense filter material that you can buy. I might get some of that, but anyway, so there's grates here, so the water goes in here, down through the filter into the pump. The pump will suck it in, and then it shoots it back out that way. And if I put the heater in here, which I probably will, because the fish I'm getting are tropical. They're not saltwater fish, but they are from like the Amazon River or down in South America where it's warm. So, or actually no, I think they're from Myanmar, because this water is high pH, and a lot of fish don't like 8.0 pH, and it's a little risky to monkey with pH in, at least chemically. You can use a reverse osmosis filter and that kind of stuff to get it closer to 7, but then you have to use a filter anytime you change water. If you can't get it balanced, then it might stress the fish. And so just for simplicity, for my first try, I'm going to just use fish that are tolerant to high pH. So this is a picture of the males when they're ready to breed. They're awfully pretty. I'm a little colorblind, so I won't try to say what colors those are, but to my eyes, there's kind of bluish zebra pattern on top of a like greenish color, I guess. I think. I don't think that's orange. But anyway, I think they're very pretty. The females are not as dark, and there's not as much contrast. They're a little more bland colored. But these are called, their scientific name, genus and species, is Celestichthes erythromicron. More commonly, they're referred to as emerald rasboras. But their scientific name is nothing like any of the other rasboras, and they don't really look like a rasbora that much to me. At least not like the other rasboras that I've seen. Like chili rasboras look completely different. So I'm not sure that these guys would really fall into the rasbora class, but whatever. I don't know. I do know that Celestichthes means heavenly fish. It's right here. Erythromicron means red and small. So small red heavenly fish is what that name means. But anyway, I think they'll be pretty cool. I did a little math using a tool online, Aquadent, or I can't remember, but it like using your volume and your filter type, it'll try to help you determine how many fish to put in. And the math that I did said that 8 of these guys would be fine. And then I'm probably just going to put some snails, some mystery snails or an apple snail or two. to help keep things a little tidy, and to add a little flavor to the aquarium without drastically increasing the bioload. But with the filter from the filtration from the garden, I actually will have a pretty good setup, because I've got this filter plus the garden as place for those bacteria to live, so we should be in good shape. Now this tank is a little small, even for little tiny fish. It's not the nicest thing in the world to place them into a tank like this. More real estate is always better, but these fish in particular aren't as active as some of the little fish, the little schooling fish. These guys shoal for sure. They group up, but they don't like move laterally together per se. They just kind of hang out in a cluster with one another. My understanding is that they're just a little bit bashful, but we'll see how that goes. This is my first foray into small fish, really. So anyway, so the next step for me is to attach plywood to the skeleton. The skeleton I tested looks pretty good to me. It might be tight. The tolerances might be just a little tiny bit tight on those corners. I built it, I don't know, I wish I would have cut those cross members about 1/8 of an inch longer, so I had a little more play. It's going to be pretty close, but it should be okay. We'll see how it goes. And if I have to start over or take it apart and put on some larger cross pieces, then so be it. I have a little bit of extra wood that I can do that with, so should be in good shape. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll do another update once I've got the box built and things plumbed. I've ordered some parts. I needed a little bit of replacement tubing and some other stuff to plumb this thing up into the upper part, into the garden bed. But I need to get the box built so I can start testing that little bell siphon that I have in mind. So it should work. I don't see any reason why it won't. But all right, that's all for now. Until next time.